You think you've ever lost something important? Think again. Earth is the true drama queen here. It dropped an entire volume of its diary, and the worst part? We have no idea why. Just to put this in perspective, 1 billion years is nearly a quarter of Earth's lifespan. And in that time, who knows what alien-like creatures may have evolved, thrived, and gone extinct, and we have absolutely zero trace of them. Imagine digging a hole in your backyard, not to bury a body, relax, but to uncover Earth's past. You'd pass through layers of soil and rock, maybe a cassette from the 90s, some glitter from the disco era, a few Roman coins, and the deeper you go, the older it gets. Each layer is a chapter in Earth's diary, neatly stacked, chronologically ordered. But then, boom, a massive blank between two ancient rock layers. No fossils, no sediment, no clue. It's as if someone hit delete on an entire era with one godlike keystroke. So what the hell happened? Here's the deal. Earth's history is mostly written in sedimentary rock. When a creature dies, its soft parts rot away or get eaten, but the hard stuff, bones, shells, sometimes gets buried under layers of dust and sand. Over millions of years, that stuff gets fossilized, locked into the rock like nature's own time capsule. These layers pile up like a lasagna of death and dirt, each one representing a different slice of time. And geologists read these layers to reconstruct what happened on Earth and when. This process is called stratigraphy, the study of layered rocks. Its golden rule is simple: the deeper the layer, the older the rock. Sounds like common sense, right? But this basic idea is the key to unlocking Earth's entire biography. Unfortunately, reality is messy. While sediments are building up nicely in one place, in another, erosion is wiping everything out. Wind, rain, glaciers, all of them scraping away the pages of Earth's history book. Then eventually, sedimentation kicks in again. A new layer forms on top as if nothing happened. But if you look closely, you'll see the new layer doesn't match the old one. That's what scientists call an unconformity. It's like when you try to fit a puzzle piece from another set. The colors, patterns, angles are all wrong. One of the first people to notice this was a Scottish farmer named James Hutton. In 1787, while strolling along Sicker Point, he spotted a freaky mismatch between two rock layers, the lower one tilted, the upper one flat. He realized this wasn't just weird geology. It was a clue that 80 million years had just vanished between those two layers. But that was just the appetizer. In 1869, a guy named John Wesley Powell was wandering through the Grand Canyon, like you do, when he stumbled across something even crazier. The rock underneath was 1.7 billion years old. The one on top, just 525 million. Do the math, a 1.2 billion year gap. A hole in time so huge it makes the Bermuda Triangle look like a pothole. And here's the kicker. That wasn't an isolated case. The same bizarre geological glitch has been found all over the world, from America to Europe to Asia. Scientists dubbed it the Great Unconformity. Sounds fancy, but really it's just their way of saying, we lost 1 billion years, and we have no fucking clue where it went. So, what the hell happened during that time? There's one bold theory that dares to explain it, the Snowball Earth hypothesis. Sounds cute, like a Pixar film. But this was no winter wonderland. It was full-on planetary apocalypse. Back around 650 million years ago, during the Cryogenian period, Earth got iced, like completely covered in glaciers and snow. Not charming Christmas snow, I'm talking planet-wide deep freeze, Antarctica levels, but everywhere. And as these massive glaciers scraped across continents, they shaved off entire mountain ranges, erasing rock layers like a dry erase board. Scientists estimate glaciers removed up to 3 kilometers of Earth's crust. That's not erosion, that's cosmic-level exfoliation. But here's the ironic twist. Right after this geological cleansing, life exploded like never before. Around 541 million years ago, Earth entered the Cambrian period. Suddenly, life kicked into overdrive. Over the course of just 11 million years, every major animal group we know today started popping up. Fish appeared, worms, early ancestors of bugs, mammals, even humans. It was as if nature had slammed a Red Bull, snorted something shady, and hit the evolve everything button. Could this really be linked to Snowball Earth? Well, some scientists believe that as the glaciers melted, they dumped massive amounts of minerals into the oceans. These minerals may have acted as evolutionary fuel, a nutrient bomb that jump-started life. In other words, Earth got scrubbed clean, lost over 1 billion years of history, and then used the dirt to create everything we know today. It's like losing your hard drive and somehow inventing the internet with the backup files. But hold up, before we get too confident, the Snowball Earth theory? It was only proposed in 1998 by Dr. Paul Hoffman. Yep, we've only had 26 years to validate this theory. That's nothing compared to the 1.2 billion years we're trying to explain. All right, so we've established that Earth may have had a serious case of global amnesia, dropping 1 billion years of its history like a drunk guy dropping his phone into a sewer. But now the real question is, how deep does this rabbit hole go? Because once you start looking for the Great Unconformity, you realize it's everywhere. And not just in one quirky spot like the Grand Canyon. We're talking entire continents with these geological glitches, missing hundreds of millions to over 1 billion years of rock record. It's like someone took a giant eraser and scrubbed entire chapters out of Earth's diary, then stitched the pages back together like nothing happened. Let's take another example. The Ozark Plateau in Missouri. Sounds innocent, right? Just a peaceful, hilly stretch of land. Well, it turns out that here, a 500 million year old sandstone layer is sitting directly on top of granite that's 1.4 billion years old. That's a 900 million year gap. No fossils, no sediment, no explanation. Just gone. And this isn't even rare. Cases like this have been discovered in Colorado, Australia, Greenland, even Africa. It's like the planet went through a collective geological blackout. And every time we think we've found some answers, more questions pop up. Now let's be honest. There's something deeply creepy about that, right? We humans like to think we've got Earth mostly figured out. We've split atoms, gone to space, made toaster ovens with Wi-Fi. But the idea that over 1 billion years of planetary history just vanished, that's humbling. It's like discovering your grandma had a secret family in another dimension. But here's where things get even weirder. Remember how we said the Cambrian explosion, that sudden burst of life, happened right after the Snowball Earth era? Some scientists are starting to connect the dots and say, what if losing 1 billion years of rock is why we exist? Think about it. If glaciers scraped away all that ancient surface rock, they didn't just wipe history, they dumped it somewhere. And a lot of that somewhere was the ocean. Oceans filled with mineral-rich debris, nutrients, chemical goodness. Basically, the ultimate smoothie for single-celled organisms looking to level up. Suddenly, life had the fuel it needed to go from basic to badass. From algae blobs to jellyfish to fish with teeth and eyes and ambition. But wait, let's rewind a bit. What exactly were we missing during that billion-year blank? Did anything even exist before the Cambrian? Short answer, yes. Long answer, we just don't know much, because again, the record's been wiped. What little we do know comes from rare places where fragments of Precambrian rock survived the wipeout. These rocks show signs of life, but not much. Microbes, slime mats, stromatolites, basically fossilized goo piles built by ancient bacteria. Sexy? Not really. But important? Hell yes. These early life forms were the building blocks of everything. Without them, no fish, no frogs, no dogs, no you two. But without a full fossil record, we're missing crucial parts of the puzzle. We don't know how fast life was evolving back then. We don't know if any bigger, more complex creatures came. We don't know what else we've lost. Now, some scientists argue that erosion alone, even with glaciers, isn't enough to explain the scale of the missing record. So guess what they came up with? Tectonic annihilation. Yup, earth-shattering plate movement on a scale we can barely imagine. Imagine two continents slamming into each other at slow-motion bulldozer speed, crushing everything between them. The heat, the pressure, the upheaval. Entire regions could be buried, melted, flipped upside down. Rocks that were once at the surface could be shoved miles underground, recycled like yesterday's trash into new rock formations. In this view, the Great Unconformity isn't just erosion, it's destruction. The planet actively shredded and rewrote its surface, like a novelist rewriting chapter 1 by setting the entire book on fire. And here's the best part. We may never know the full truth. Why? Because geology is patient, painfully, excruciatingly patient. We're talking millions of years per page in this book, and reading it means analyzing layers of rock the way an archaeologist brushes dirt off a shard of pottery, slowly, one speck at a time. And let's be honest, we've only just started. There are theories out there we haven't even dreamed up yet. New technology, new digs, new discoveries may blow this whole thing wide open in the next 50 years. Or maybe never. Maybe some parts of Earth's story are gone forever. Lost, deleted. Like a corrupted hard drive no one can recover. But that doesn't mean the mystery isn't worth chasing. Because in that missing time, that billion-year blackout, lies the answer to the biggest questions of all. Where did life come from? How did it survive? And what had to be destroyed for us to be here? Maybe life didn't just survive the Great Unconformity. Maybe it was born from a planetary trauma so massive that it reset the rules, wiped the slate clean, and made way for something entirely new. Something like us. So here we are, standing on the edge of the biggest blank in Earth's biography. A billion years, poof, gone, scrubbed clean. And we're left squinting at the aftermath, trying to piece it all back together like detectives with only half a crime scene. Now let's recap what we know so far. There's a massive gap in the fossil and geological record called the Great Unconformity. It's found all over the world. Grand Canyon, Ozarks, Greenland, Australia, you name it. The gap ranges from 250 million to over 1.2 billion years. It happened just before the Cambrian explosion, when complex life suddenly went haywire and multiplied like crazy. And one of the leading theories? Snowball Earth, a time when glaciers shaved the planet down like a cosmic barber. But remember, that's just one theory. There are others, some even wilder. One alternative theory? Supercontinents gone rogue. Ever heard of Rodinia? Not to be confused with Wakanda, though it's equally mysterious. Rodinia was a supercontinent that existed long before Pangea. Scientists believe it formed around 1.1 billion years ago and then, well, it broke apart. Violently. And when continents break up, all hell breaks loose. Tectonic shifts, volcanic activity, sea levels rising and falling like a teenager's mood. The crust buckles, mountains form, oceans deepen, and in that chaos, entire chunks of rock can be swallowed or erased. So maybe the Great Unconformity wasn't just glaciers. Maybe it was also Earth rearranging its furniture so aggressively that entire rooms vanished. And then there's the deep time erosion paradox. Let's say the Earth wasn't completely frozen. Let's say parts of it were just old, weathered, exposed to the elements for hundreds of millions of years. That alone could have erased countless fossil layers before they ever had a chance to form. Wind, water, sunlight. No need for glaciers, just time, doing what time does best, slowly destroying everything. It's like leaving an ancient scroll out in the rain for a billion years and wondering why you can't read it anymore. But here's where it gets even more poetic. You know all that stuff that got scraped off, washed away, dissolved, and carried into the oceans? Yeah, that didn't just disappear. It changed the chemistry of the oceans. Think of it as a billion-year mineral dump into Earth's womb. And what happens when you spike the ocean with phosphorus, iron, calcium? Life says, thank you, and goes absolutely feral. This chemical surge may have been the final push evolution needed to kickstart the Cambrian explosion. You could even say, destruction fertilized creation. Glaciers may have crushed everything that came before, but in doing so, they may have fed the sea and turned it into an incubator for everything that came next. But maybe the most mind-melting idea of all is this. What if the Great Unconformity wasn't just a geological accident? What if it was necessary? What if life needed a reset? A billion years of slow progress, small cells, boring blobs, and then boom, one clean slate later, the world's ready for jaws, claws, eyeballs, and sex organs. Maybe nature is more brutal and strategic than we think. Because here we are, sentient beings, watching YouTube videos and asking deep questions about existence. Because Earth decided to delete a chapter of its story and write a better one on top. And what's even more fascinating, we almost missed it. It took centuries of digging, mapping, measuring, and arguing for humans to even notice this massive hole in our planet's history. Imagine standing in front of a massive crack in a wall your entire life, only one day realizing, wait a second, that's not supposed to be there. That's what the Great Unconformity is. A crack in the very fabric of time, a scar left by Earth's most violent makeover. And yet, without it, we might not be here. So, let's flip the question. Everyone's asking, where did that billion years of history go? But maybe the better question is, what did we gain by losing it? Because sometimes, the universe doesn't just move forward by addition. It evolves by subtraction, by deleting, by letting go of what was, to make room for what could be. And that's not just a geology lesson, that's a life lesson. So next time you lose your keys or forget where you parked your car, just remember, Earth lost a billion years and still bounced back like a badass. You'll be fine. Thanks for sticking around. If your mind is now sufficiently blown and you've got questions, conspiracies, or existential dread to share, drop a comment. And if you enjoyed this rocky ride, don't forget to like, subscribe, and dig deeper.